You go on a first date with someone. What habit or characteristic is a deal breaker? Being a know-it-all. I had lunch with someone who called the table salt sodium chloride and used the bread as a way to tell me everything he knew about complex carbohydrates, some of which wasn't even correct, and their connections to evolutionary theory. Just felt like he was compensating for something. I watched a monster eat a Caesar salad with her mouth wide open. It was impressive but absolutely gross. Within 20 minutes of that date I knew where her vibrator and weed were stored at her parents' place in her room, and that she made $240 every 2 weeks. If they are hard to talk to, might not make them a bad person, but obviously there is no chemistry if all I get are one-word answers, where they also don't reciprocate questions. So you're a teacher, right? Yep. Well, that's cool. What grade? 2 and D. Or what a great age. That's like the perfect time cause kids still kind of like school. Aha. Check please. They talk over me and spend the conversation giving me unsolicited advice about how to live my life. Edit. I feel like I need to specify that I was thinking of one specific first date that did not become a second date when I answered this. Lol. The guy didn't like that I had dyed my hair blonde at the bottom and spent a lot of the date telling me about the dangers of bleaching your hair and how I should learn to make better choices. I just wanted to have a good dinner, man. Here is a great story. First date in college. I drive a truck and live in a city, so spots are tight. This spot is particularly tight. So I say, this is a tight spot, so watch your door when you open it. Girl, are you telling me how to open my door? Doesn't pay basic attention and slams the door into the other car. Someone who makes me read their bad poetry. This has happened to me more than once. Editors, I just woke up to a bunch of responses and I can't possibly reply to them all individually. I don't hate poetry, I very much like it. Especially Vaughan poetry. However, on a first date, there is a huge difference between, have you read this poem by X? What do you think of this bit? And here is my notebook. Read it all and tell me what you think. Story bits for those who asked. The first time this happened I was 18 and we met through mutual friends. While it wasn't great, it wasn't emo angsty levels of bad. Unfortunately, he then started sending me poetry he had written about me and calling me his muse. This after having met once. He then went full stalker. So yeah, nope. Second time was some years later. It was bad, but I was not mean about it. We continued chatting, then said goodnight politely and parted. The next day he went from I had a really nice time, give me a call. 2. I'm sure you are busy, but please reply. 2. Clearly you are ignoring me, so let's never speak again in the space of a 3-hour barrage of text messages. I was at work, so I didn't see the messages till lunchtime. I was once set up to go on a blind date with this girl. We were given each other's email addresses, and so I hit her up. We exchanged a few pleasantries, then set up a date/time to finally meet. The day of, I get an email from her in the morning with an attachment. I open up the attachment and there is a questionnaire with like 25 to 30 questions on it. She requested I kindly fill out the questionnaire before we meet. I quickly reviewed the questions before sending her a reply saying that it's probably best we don't meet. I don't know what characteristic she embodied, but I'd say that was a deal breaker. They only want to talk about themselves. I once had a 2-hour blind date. By the end, I knew everything about this girl. I knew all of her cats by name and what their favorite movies were. She asked me literally nothing and just kept jumping from topic to topic. At the end of the date, she wanted to trade numbers and I couldn't help but ask what's my name, and she didn't know. So I just paid for my meal and left. Oh, I have another. If a person tells you they are in love with you after one day together, they might try to move into your house, then try to attack you when you ask them to leave. But that's a story for another time. One of my best friends casually began to date one of my ex-girlfriend's friends. He was really starting to like her and took her out on consistent dates, a few sleepovers, etc. My ex-girlfriend told me this girl was texting her about her date with my friend later that night. My ex asked her if she was into him as much as he was her. Her literal response was no, but free food is free food. I was hurt for him. Devastated. I didn't want him to feel what I felt, and I wasn't even the one dating her. I took my friend, roommate at the time also, aside that afternoon, and asked him to please delete her number and never talk to her again. I didn't say why. I just asked him to trust me and to please stop seeing her. It's for the honest best. Knowing me for years and years, he politely accepted my request and deleted her, without question. He knew I knew something, and understood I was helping him avoid emotional pain and disappointment. He is too nice of an individual to experience that. Trust goes a long way. Their drinking manners. If they insist I drink, or suggest drinks/shots, after I've declined multiple times, I'll either think you have a problem, or you're trying to get me drunk, both of which I don't want. Men who insist you come over, or they come over, I'm all about prolonging a good date, and would love to go to another spot, but I really hate when men invite me over to their place, or suggest coming to mine at the end of the night. Even worse, when they get super pouty when I decline. One-upping. Edit. When I lived in the Midwest, it was literally just part of the culture. Telling stories and being one-upped was something you were desensitized to. I ran into a wall once I moved west where people pointed out that I did it, so I stopped. Now when I go on dates, I usually get into things people are passionate about. If it's all about one-upping experiences, then it's goals and meaning based on other people. Big turn off. There are a lot of people my age that are essentially living at a speed like Justin from Parks and Rec, and it's a shame. I learned and appreciated so much more slowing down and being present for things alone. The Midwest is also rampant with superlatives. It was the funniest thing I've ever seen, scariest thing that's ever happened to me. Really? Having your online banking freeze with the wrong balance on it was the scariest thing that's ever happened to you? Fuck off. Don't one-up on dates. Hearing how your trip to Cali for Coachella was the best experience of your life, and how Diplo was the most amazing thing you've ever seen, is not what I want to hear when I ask about your future at Purdue studying liberal arts. Poor personal hygiene, or any other lack of basic self-respect. Disrespectful to service workers, waitstaff, janitors, etc. Harsh generalizations about different races/gender/nationalities/etc. without verifiable evidence to back them up. Seems constantly annoyed or angry over little things. Victim mentality or any other sense of entitlement. Edit to at, most of us who've been around a while might have that one crazy ex, but if someone claims that most or all of their exes were crazy, then that's your cue to run far the fuck away and never call back. That person was the crazy one. Nobody's luck is actually that bad. I've conducted hundreds of job interviews, and reading through these, I noticed that most of these are also red flags to me when interviewing someone. Brings up money too often. Talks bad about current/previous employer, obviously embellishing personal details. Talks, unprompted, about themselves too much/boasting. Doesn't ask questions about the job. Avoids taking a side on a topic/middling opinions. Orders shots from the bar. Unidirectional people. Only talks about work. Only knows about sports. Only cares about traveling. Get a mix. Edit. If you talk about traveling, sports and your job with passion, it's definitely not a deal breaker. I'm talking about someone who can only do one of the three, not all three combined. Sorry, maybe it came out wrong. Bragging. Even worse if it's over the smallest things. A guy I was interested in kept texting me these fake brags about things that don't even matter. He having a pet lizard that he brought home from his holidays. He also was a big fan of his own eyes. They were blue, but nothing out of the ordinary. He'd send photos saying they were unique and blue/grey and pretty. Immediate turn off. Back when I was online dating, I was very open and clear about my interests. Biggest deal breaker was spending the whole date being shitty about one or more of my interests and somehow expecting that would be okay, attractive. At the end of the date, after paying the bill, I just looked across the table and said, "Look, I'm not really seeing this going anywhere." She got mad, went all huffy, said that I must have a problem with fat girls. Girl, I dated bigger women than you, and I had no problem with your weight. Then spent the next few hours blowing up my phone and being shitty. Then she even got her mom involved for hurting her daughter, calling me an asshole, and I was like, Should I have lead her on for some time, used her and tossed her out of my life? Course that would have been a dick move. TL. Doctor, don't make fun of a prospective date's interest. That's just shitty and unattractive. PS. She was quite cute, and if she wasn't so shitty on that date, I would have enjoyed taking her out again. Guys who make you feel bad about not going home with them. I was really excited to go out with this one guy, had excitement / jitters all day, because we had initially hit it off super well, and then the date came around, but I decided not to go home with him, because I liked him, and wanted to prolong the courting stage a bit longer. Not even 30 seconds after I drove away he sent me. When I asked him why, he started pushing me to turn around and come over to his place. Nope, the fuck out, tap that one real quick.